So we got a 1997 Toyota RAV4, and we're replacing the engine mounts. Previously on this vehicle, it was a crank no start that I was diagnosing, and it ended up being that right there, the coolant temperature sensor. Ended up being the reason why the car wasn't started, so we replaced that. Quick fix. I've seen Diagnose Dan did a video on it. I should have recorded mine when I did it before that, but whatever. Yeah, something to remember on these Toyotas and other cars too. Do not overlook this little part right there. It'll definitely cause a no start. Beyond that, so when we started the car, the engine was basically rocking back and forth. So I suggested that we replace the engine mounts. The one in the back and the one in the front were completely shot. This one I couldn't test it out. I went to the pain of removing it. That's the one on the right side of the engine. On this particular vehicle, you have to remove the ABS module or ABS pump. And to do that, there's a bracket that sits underneath it. I mean, really, it's just a painful of a job. This is an up north car, so you see the rust. There's a lot of broken bolts and whatnot. Just craziness. This line right here that goes to, I think, the right front tire, you're gonna have to unhook it from the pump in order for you to be able to take the pump out. Now I did not disconnect the other lines because I didn't feel the need to do that. I want to create myself a whole bunch of extra work there. I'm still gonna have to bleed this one line off when I'm done with the job. So basically, when you take this line off, move it to the side, you're gonna be able to take this whole unit, take it, and just kind of bend it to the side. Once you do that, you're gonna be seeing the engine mount. Now the engine mount has 3 legs, if I can call them that. Matter of fact, let me see if I can show it to you. Just like a regular engine mount on that side. It was a pain to get to, but not as painful as the one in the rear. That took me literally almost 4 hours. Yeah, almost 4 hours. So anyway, that's the mount right here. In the shade so you can see better. The old one is in the back of my truck, which I need to actually yeah, we got this from Rock Auto, real cheap. So that's the engine mount for you right there. Part number if you care for it. Made in Thailand. And look to be good quality. Right there. So those are the 3 bolts. One there, and one in the back. But besides that, there's also a bracket that links the engine mount to the actual engine. That is in my box somewhere. If I can find it. Actually, I need to find it because I'm going to use the bracket on the new one. That bracket retails for, I think, about $70 online. And that would be a dealer item, if I'm not mistaken. I was cleaning up my truck yesterday, so I dumped everything in there. Alright, right there. So that's the old one, and it was not bad actually. It was still in pretty good shape. But I couldn't tell. So it's a 1997. If I'm going to do engine mounts, I figured let's just replace all of them. So once I kind of removed it, and I noticed it was in good shape, I couldn't take this bolt off. My impact was weak. I had to take it to my friend and use this Milwaukee, the 1/2 inch. Man, it was like butter. Literally 2 seconds, it was off. And I tried heat and everything with my own impact, which is an older DeWalt. But yeah, so that's the bracket there, and that's pretty much how it would sit in the car, right? There's this one and that one. This is a stud going there. There's a bolt going here. And this right here, you got to get it from the bottom. So you got to go underneath the car, take this shield off. There's 2 bolts here, one here and one down there. Move it to the side, and then when you look up, somewhere down there, I mean, I don't have to show it to you. If you go to it, you'll know. There is the bolt that you need to remove, and after you've done that, now you can finagle this thing out of here, you know, amongst all of these, you know, brake lines or whatever, you know, find a way to, yeah. So not a pleasant job by any means. I mean, usually the engine mounts on the top here are pretty much very easy to do. You know, if there's a overflow bottle or, you know, power steering something, that's about it. But not an ABS pump on top of that. That was just not a very clever design, if you ask me. But hey, it is what it is. So yeah, now the rear one is the main thing that I wanted to talk about, because it took me, like I said, about 4 hours. I mean, I looked online, I looked on the forums. People have all kinds of different methods to try to remove it. What I found was effective for me. Let's get to it one by one. First, jack up the car. What I would do next time, I would take off this tire. Maybe not, I'm not sure, because it did help me to kind of, well, anyway, you can take this tire off. What's that? Outer tie rod. Sorry, my hand is in the way. Okay, what you're looking at right there is the front of the car, right? Right there, that's the front of the car. Right here, I'm on basically under the driver's side door. So anyway, this is some type of cross member, and basically you're gonna have to drop this thing. There is no way around it that I found. To do that, you're gonna take this bolt off, not off all the way, but drop it low enough that you can have some clearance. This one can come off completely, it doesn't make a difference. This one came off for me completely. And then that one, what you see there, yeah, that's the main bolt for the frame. It's very, it was very stout. I had to use a breaker bar and a lot of patience to get it to turn. So when you turn them, just enough to get yourself a little bit of play. Next thing you need to do, up here, that's the rack and pinion, okay? And you got a bolt on either side of the rack and pinion. Of course, one of them is right there. I don't know if the camera is showing them. Sorry, I don't have the light on. And the other one is on the other side. You can get to it using a, I use a combination of, it's a 17 millimeter plus wobble socket, all right? Wobbly socket, 17 millimeter. That's the engine mount right there in front of you. This was a pain to get to. It's held on by 2 studs. I don't know why they didn't do it like the front one and just put bolts in it, where you can just bolt it on. They prefer to do the opposite and use studs. Man, that was a giant mistake, because here we go now. This is where we are because of the studs. Yeah, so to clear these studs, definitely you have to remove the rack and pinion, the 2 bolts. Then once you remove that outer tie rod right there, you can basically maneuver the rack and pinion back and forth, like up and down, side to side. Well, you know, play with it while you basically trying to take this one out, you know, as best as you can. I mean, I cannot explain to you how you're gonna do it. Once you get to it, you'll figure it out. Obviously, there's a 17 millimeter bolt right there that you're seeing on the mount that you gotta take off, the center bolt. Hopefully yours won't get seized up in there. Once you take it off, I had to put a pry bar underneath to just yank it up, and then I just finagle with it like for some time until I got it out. You know, you push this thing up the rack and pinion, and then you play with it, and eventually, you know, you'll get it. And then once you're done, you put the new one in. Same thing. Once you put the new one in, also you will have to kind of play with jacking the engine from the transmission side, using a jack right there and jacking the transmission up and down while you're trying to line up the bolt holes, well, not the bolt, but the main the center bolt, to trying to get it to be to line up. And that was a pain also, because you definitely got to play with the jack a little bit, trying to get it to line up. And yeah, if you're a DIY person, I would not suggest doing that. The rear one, even the one on top, is a pain, let alone this one. Honestly, it's just a frustrating job. At least doing it on the ground. I'm sure if you were in a shop and would put all the lifts and whatever else you need, it probably would be a quick job, but if you're going to do it on the ground, really just have a whole day planned out, even longer. I mean, I've been doing this for some time now, so but just beware. So yeah, those are my tips. Like I said, I haven't found a video online from anyone doing this job, and yeah, and I don't know why. It's a painful job. So anyhow, so now I'm gonna take this bracket off. You have to play with it a little bit. There you go, boom. Yep. And we're gonna put this on a new one. Bracket sits like that, and that, if I'm not mistaken, goes this way. I think it goes like that. I think so, yeah. Pretty much. And then we're going to drop it in there somewhere, somehow. So you get the gist of it. So that's just I'm trying to give you some tips if you're going to do this job. Like I said, if you're not a mechanic, a professional, I would not advise doing the one in the rear. The one in the front, I'm not even going to show it, honestly. I mean, if you're going to attempt it, you'll see. You just basically taking off the shield from the bottom there, 10mm bolts. Once you rip them off, you got a 17mm and a 17, a bolt and a nut. So get a wrench on one side, wrench on the other side, and that's about it. That's the easiest one, and it's held on by 2 bolts rather than the studs, and that's really easy peasy. That's like 5 seconds, 5 minutes, quick job. Anybody can do that one. I don't even think you need to jack up the engine for that one. Maybe you need to, I'm not sure anymore. But anyway, it's very easy, nothing to do. I'm not going to show that. But this was a painful job, definitely, but not as painful as the one at the bottom like I just showed you. Do not attempt it if you're not a professional. That's just my sincere advice. All right, YouTube, so hope you guys have yourself a beautiful weekend. I'm going to get out of here and go do some other things.